Alright, so today we are going to be surviving 300 days in hardcore Minecraft. Now, we've already survived 200 days, accomplishing quite a bit along the way, including killing the enderdragon and the wither, and getting full netherite armor. But I want to kick it up a notch. The first thing I want to do is actually conquer an ocean monument. Throughout my entire time playing Minecraft, this is actually something I've never done. And also, one of the things my world is lacking right now is automatic farms, like an iron golem grinder, as well as a grinder for gunpowder, so I can get a massive amount of TNT. Another thing I want to work on is actually properly decorating my base, and finally, at the end of this, I want to respawn and kill the ender dragon yet again. I hope you guys like this video. If you do, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It's only 2 clicks and it really helps me out. And with that, let's just jump into it. Alright, so like I said, the first thing I wanted to do was conquer an ocean monument, but to do that, I'm going to need some water breathing potions. And to make those, it is really simple. You just make awkward potions and then use a puffer fish, and boom, you've got water breathing. Next, I made my way over to my elevator here, which leads me up to the building limit. I have a limited amount of fireworks, so this saves me some fireworks by getting some insane height to use my elytra. And within 1,000 blocks, I was already at the ocean monument. This thing was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, so we were pretty good there. And when I first got here, I saw the guardians, right? And like I said, I've never conquered an ocean monument before. I thought I could just kill all of these guardians until I turned the corner and saw this. There's like 30 on my screen right now, and I realized, oh crap, no, we can't kill all the guardians. So I just went ahead and went in, and I knew I had to kill all of the elder guardians because they gave me mining fatigue, which means I would never be able to get all of the gold blocks. So I floated around, I found 2 of them, easily killed them, and I was struggling to find the third because the third one's in a room that I think you can only get to by mining to that room. I could be mistaken, but yeah, I really don't know my way around an ocean monument. I tried to float around waiting for the mining fatigue to end. It never did because it kept on giving it to me. I ended up having to fly back to my base just that way I could get a bucket of milk to clear my potion effects, go back, drink the milk, and dig into the room with the Elder Guardian. And finally, I was able to kill the final one, which means I can now explore this entire thing and get the gold blocks that I needed. These gold blocks are going to be super useful because also one of the first things I wanted to do was expand my beacon to the 3rd level, so that way I could have speed all over my island. And this thing gave me 8 gold blocks, so it saved me a ton of time. It literally only took me like 2 days to conquer this thing. It was super simple. I also was hoping that this ocean monument would have a sponge room so I could get a ton of sponges. Unfortunately, it did not. So I got everything I could from it and I made my way home. And like I said, one of the first projects I wanted was to expand my beacon to the 3rd level. And the easiest way to do that, in my opinion, is with gold, because you can get a ton of gold from the nether. And the easiest way in the nether is to use a silk touch pickaxe and all of that gold ore. And unfortunately, I didn't have a silk touch pickaxe, so I took a few days enchanting some pickaxes until I had a max enchanted silk touch pickaxe. Next, I needed some ender pearls because it's easier to travel around the nether with some ender pearls. I already had the coordinates of my stronghold written down, and I just used my elytra to fly there in like 2 minutes. So I just very quickly got there, used my boat to kill some endermen, got a couple stacks of ender pearls, and we were ready to go. And like I said, here's what you do. You just go around the nether, you mine all this gold ore with the silk touch pickaxe, and then you go home and you smelt it to get full gold ingots rather than just the gold nuggets that a regular pickaxe would give you. So you are able to get an absolutely insane amount of gold. In only about 10 minutes or so, I already had a couple stacks, and unfortunately, I miscounted. I don't know how. I thought doing all of that would be enough to get my portal to the next level, but no, I ended up being 3 stacks of gold ore short. I seriously have no idea how I messed my math up that bad. But yeah, into the nether we went. I got a 3 stacks and I came across this bastion that I already looted, but I never ended up getting the gold blocks from the back end of it. So that's exactly what I'm doing right here. I use my elytra to fly up and get the gold blocks in the back end of this bastion. Once I looted all of that, I had more than enough gold to complete my project so I could start flying home. And I just want to show you guys this. Flying home with an elytra in the nether is the most simple yet fun thing in the world. I mean, look at all this terrain. It would take me so long to cover that much ground just walking, and I'm able to do it in like 4 seconds with the elytra. But anyway, once I got home, I smelted all of that, and boom, there you go. Had enough for the 3rd level, and now no matter where I am around my base, I have speed. And the next project I wanted to work on was actually making myself a fancy farm. As you can see, mine is really, really boring. So to do that, I demolished the house right next to my farm, and right here you can see I am actually looking up YouTube videos. I'm a horrible builder. I don't know what I'm doing. I had to look up a video on how to make a nice looking farm. But yeah, I ended up having to fly a few hundred blocks away to this forest to get a ton of supplies that I needed. And yeah, this is what I followed a tutorial on this, so you're gonna occasionally see me tab out just to look at it. But basically, yeah, I did kind of had to improvise a little bit on my own because I couldn't follow the tutorial one-to-one because his was a lot bigger than mine. I really wish I was a good builder. I really wish I was. I could do these things by myself, save a ton of time, but I'm not. We ended up making it look really nice by adding trapdoors to the top, slabs, also adding some fences to all of this, you know, just really nice decoration blocks. Things that I probably never would have thought to do by myself. And one of the things I wanted to do was add puzzle around the farm as decoration. And the only way you really can get puzzle is from large taiga trees. So I had to spawn one in and it automatically creates it. So as you can see right there, I added our nice decorations. I added some flowers. I went to a flower forest, got all of that. We added some decoration blocks all around the farm. I decided we should probably also decorate around my house a little bit too, so I spent a little bit of time doing all of that, you know, just making things look nice. My base was kind of bland, you know, I needed to spice things up, make it look nice. So that's what I did. And next, right now, you can see me covering up this stupid cave around the back end of my house near my nether portal. Huge area, huge cave, really got in the way and prevented building. But after doing that, I was able to make this nether portal look really cool. I added some decoration to that, kind of, yeah, just a little staircase, a little nether themed to the nether portal, you know, making things look cool. And now that I covered in the rest of the cave that I did not need, this would be a great place to put my cow farm. I took all of my cows out, threw them in my house just to get them out of the way for now, so that way I can make a farm. And I was bound and determined to actually make a farm by myself without a tutorial on YouTube. So that's what I did. It was probably a mistake because it took me many days, but this is what I came up with. I had the barrels on the base there to help me just keep the wheat, so I didn't have to keep on going back to my base to get the wheat anytime I wanted to farm. So it was practical a little bit. I tilted some blocks. I had some walls as added decoration, some torches all around to prevent mobs from spawning. In all honesty, I think it looks not that bad. Like, I did that by myself without any help from YouTube, and it looks good in my opinion. Not amazing, but good. And I was proud of that. I finally accomplished something by myself. Next, I wanted to actually make myself a much quicker portal to get to the end because I kept on using ender pearls to help me travel around a little bit and I was running low on them. So I figured if I just made myself a portal in the nether to get to my stronghold, problem solved. But when I popped out, we're not at my stronghold. We're at some place I've never been before, and I was super confused until I realized that I accidentally went positive in the nether when I meant to go negative positive, so we were in the complete wrong direction. Once I realized that, though, I could go back in and go to the proper coordinates, which just so happened to be the exact coordinates of a fortress right next to the blaze spawner, which is highly convenient, but also kind of cool. But yeah, we lit that, and boom, we popped out at the actual proper island where my stronghold is, so I made myself a tunnel leading directly down to the exact spot where the portal is. So now, if I want to go to the stronghold to go to the end, it'll probably only take me a couple minutes to get here. So it saved me an absolute ton of time because I was going to explore the end in the future because I wanted some shulker boxes to help me store blocks for some of the farms I was going to be building because I was getting a ton of supplies. So this just helped cut down the process in the future. But once I got back to my base, it was time to work on something else. And the first thing I wanted to work on was making an iron golem grinder to get a ton of iron. Now this is something I didn't actually know existed until a couple days ago when I read a comment that said I could just make one. So I figured that was really cool. So I looked up a tutorial on how to make one. And basically you just need villagers to get scared of a zombie and then an iron golem will spawn and you just lead it to its death, basically. But yeah, I didn't have a surplus of villagers, so I went flying around looking for villages to try and find some carrots or potatoes to breed villagers with. For some reason, I was forgetting you could use bread to breed villagers. I don't know why. But yeah, after flying around for a while, I did come across this village right here, which had both carrots and potatoes, so I could start growing my own farm of carrots and potatoes. And even though I didn't technically need them to breed the villagers, it's still nice just to have them. Wanted to start the breeding process on the villagers so I could have a surplus for my farm so we get things going on that front. And while all of those were growing, I could actually go to the end now to find my shulker boxes. And I'm just going to show you here how quickly I can get to my stronghold. It seriously takes virtually no time at all, especially with the elytra. We just go a few blocks away, boom, go over to the ocean here, drop down here, and boom, we are in the end. It's super, super simple. But yeah, like I said, I wanted these shulker boxes because I needed an absolutely insane amount of supplies to make these automatic farms, and it's just so much easier when you have shulker boxes to store those supplies in, so you don't have to keep on making so many trips back to your base. Yeah, I flew around the end for a little while, eventually finding this stronghold, killed the shulkers, got the shulker boxes, looted it a little bit because I hadn't actually been to this end city before. And while I was here, I decided to grab some of these purple blocks just for decorational purposes in case I ever wanted to use them in the future. And for once in my life, I actually remembered to write down the direction of where my portal out of the end is. I finally remembered. I finally did it. But yeah, I flew to that thing and we were able to get out of there. And boom, we had many shulker boxes now. I just colored them different colors. I made one pink and red and stuff. And yeah, as you see, those are just a few of the supplies I need for my iron golem grinder. Now, one of the things that I need that is a bit more difficult to obtain actually is a name tag. So I started looking up how to find name tags, and I figured the easiest way to get one would probably to enchant a fishing rod to get Luck of the Sea 3 and then start fishing to get a name tag. I figured that would probably be the easiest way. Now, unbeknownst to me, I actually had a name tag in one of my chests. I didn't realize until it was probably like 20 days later when I was just randomly going through my chests and I noticed in one of the barrels there was a name tag. So all of this fishing that I'm doing, the days it took me to get that fishing rod enchanted, and then the like 2 days it took me to fish for the name tag, I didn't even have to do. I already had a name tag without knowing it. But yeah, as you can see, there you go. Boom. I got my name tag. And the reason why you needed the name tag is because you need to name the zombie that scares the villagers to make it sure that the zombie never despawns. So yeah, it was pretty crucial to making our iron golem grinder here. Now I'm going to skip through most of this because most of this is just me constantly going to the tutorial on YouTube, going back, placing blocks, going to the tutorial, coming back, placing blocks, etc, etc, etc. Really, really boring stuff. But yeah, this is basically what it looks like. Each villager is going to go in this space where the bed is. They're gonna see the zombie, get scared, and spawn them in and stuff. By this time, I actually remembered that you could use bread to breed villagers and I didn't need the carrots, so I just went ahead and closed them all into a much larger area and let them all out. Went to the village that I found earlier to get an absolute ton of wheat for my bread, and I just chucked it in there. Just gave them all the bread. Just start breeding. Give me some babies. I need to use them for my farm. Please. Thank you. I finished it. Now all I had to do was wait for the villagers to grow and then ship them up there. And the easiest way to do that was with a minecart. I already had all these carts from earlier transporting villagers, so I just quickly laid them all down, shoved them, and boom, they got sent right to the top. And then once they're at the top, just break the minecart, shove them into their designated spot, and there you go. Once I transported the other two villagers up there, all I had to do now was lure a zombie up here. And for some reason, the zombies were being really, really stupid. They did not want to climb up this thing. They kept on getting distracted by the villagers. Even though they couldn't get to the villagers, they still wanted to try and attack them for some reason, and he kept on going underneath my staircase instead of climbing up to come get me. I don't understand why. I tried the entire night to get a zombie to follow me with no success. So during the day, I broke all of the train trails in case that was distracting it, and I made the base bigger, and eventually the next night, I did manage to get a zombie to follow me all the way up, and I made a nice and neat little path for him to fall into. And there you go. Now, all I had to do was name him, right-click him with that name tag, and there you go. His name is now Sub to Zelk. You should definitely do that. Listen to the zombie. Do it, please. Cool. All right. Now that project was done, I could finally start on something else, and I wanted to move my villagers to someplace other than where they were. I actually wanted them to be in a much larger area in case I wanted to breed them again in the future. So I decided to dig out a corner of my chest room to make a completely new room in here, and this is where I'd be storing my villagers. I thought it would be super, super convenient having them out of the way, in safety, in a separate base all by themselves, and it was super easy for me to get to. I just thought it was the best possible outcome for all of my villagers. Now I went up to my iron golem grinder, and after all this time, not a single iron golem had spawned and given me iron, which confused me. It turns out the thing was broken. I don't know how. I eventually had to fix it but I didn't really want to work on that right now because I was still in the process of moving all of my villagers. So I continued mining out the room and also smelting a ton of stone because I was just going to use stone brick to decorate this room because it was the block that I had the most of. It was going to be the most simple thing. And as you can see right here, what I'm doing is I'm just making one individual little station for each villager. I gave them a bed and their workstation just to keep them safe and organized, and I could break the walls in the future if I wanted to breed them, and then once they would go to sleep at night, I could just replace the walls as they're sleeping and they'd be all separated, and it's super simple. It looks nice, it's convenient, it's practical. I mean, again, sometimes I surprise myself with how practical and good I can make things without tutorials on YouTube. Yeah, I don't want to bore you too much with all of this. It's just a lot of grindy decorating stuff. So with a nice scene transition cut thing, boom, this is what it looks like, all completely finished and with the villagers inside their little beds. I'm pretty sure I had 3 Fletchers, if I'm not mistaken, at one point. But I couldn't find the 3rd Fletcher, so I guess they're dead. Or I only had 2 Fletchers before. I don't remember. But either way, I think I lost a Fletcher. But once I was done building, I could actually fix my iron golem grinder. And as you can see again, boom, right there. Not a single piece of iron during this entire process of moving my other villagers. It was super annoying. The first thing I did is I killed the iron golem in my villager room because I know there can only be a certain amount of iron golems in a given area. So I did that just to make sure that wasn't the problem. I AFK'd a little bit to see if any iron golem would spawn at my grinder. No iron golem did, so I realized I needed to fix the problem. So I just messed around for days with different projects, Googling things, until I eventually came up with this. What's happening here is the piston is hiding the zombie so the villagers feel safe, and then it's revealing the zombie so they get scared and an iron golem spawns. This isn't actually the final product. I eventually did mess around it with a little bit more, specifically the timing of the pistons to make iron golems spawn as frequently as possible, and it actually did. It worked really well, actually. Again, I surprised myself with some of the things I can do. This was, yeah, just a nice little redstone clock and some pistons to hide and reveal the zombie to make it really practical and really useful. So now that I was done with that, I'm gonna have a ton of iron just continuously spawning in that thing, saving me time from ever having to go mining for iron again, ever. And I could finally, after so many days, move on to something else. And the first thing I decided to do was actually get max enchanted armor. I couldn't believe it, but looking at my armor wasn't actually maxed. My helmet didn't have respiration, my boots didn't have feather falling, my pants didn't have unbreaking. Like, how have I not noticed this by now? So I spent days in my mob grinder enchanting until finally I got a helmet with respiration and I got boots with feather falling. Now, I couldn't combine them with my current armor because that's diamond armor and I have netherite armor. So I had to actually go to the nether and get myself some ancient debris to turn that diamond armor into netherite to combine it with my current armor. It took me a few days. Luckily, I already had 1 extra ancient debris from last time, and I only needed ancient debris for 2 pieces of armor. It's not like I needed enough for a full set. I only had to find 7 ancient debris, so it's not really that much. It didn't take me that long. I mean, it still took like a few days of just mining just an insane amount of netherrack. But yeah, as you can see, I needed 2 more. I found that one. I was hoping there's 2 there. There was not. There was only 1 there, so I continued mining until eventually I found a vein of 2, and we now had 9, which is 1 extra than enough to turn both my helmet and boots into netherite armor. So went back to the main base, put that in, boom, and boom, there you go. Combined the new helmet with my old one, and I did not have enough XP to get by my boots, so I had to go back to my XP grinder, which really wasn't that big of a problem because I had to go back here anyway because I still needed to enchant a book with unbreaking to apply that to my leggings. So that's what I did for the next couple of days, is just enchanting a book over and over again until it gave me unbreaking. Didn't take that long, but still got that done. Anvil ended up breaking, and finally I now have 100% maxed out armor. Pretty sure all of my tools are maxed out as well, so we are absolutely rocking with the armor and weapons here. There's like no chance I'm gonna die anymore in this world, or so I hope. I mean, I shouldn't die, right? We're pretty solid. We're pretty good right now. Next, I wanted to do something that I've also never done before, and that is make a map wall. Now, I kind of forgot to start my recording back up, and I realized that once I completed my first row, but basically, it is super simple. I imagine every single one of you know how to do this because you're all not stupid like I am, but you just go into a different chunk, you right click with the map and it fills it in, and then there you go. You just put it on a wall with a bunch of item frames and it all completes. And I had my elytra, which made this entire process just a little bit faster by just flying to each different area to create the map. It was overall pretty simple, a little bit tedious because I did have to wait for my sugarcane to grow to get some paper to make some more maps eventually. But yeah, as you can see right there, you just plug it right in, simple as that. And just to show you what it looks like, an entire uncut scene with my elytra, you just use that, fly, go to each chunk, and then once I got the 3 that I needed, I just fly back to my wall, 1, 2, 3, and now just repeat that like 5 more times, and we've got the entire map wall. I'm sure you guys do not want to see that because that's super boring, so just cut out all of that, and all we need is this last one here, so boop, there you go, and here is our completed project. And so in case you were wondering what my world looks like a little bit zoomed out, here's what it is. I might expand this map wall in the future a little bit more to the right because that's where all the land is. As you can see to the left, that's just ocean. Nobody cares about that. I'll probably expand that a little bit in the future, but right now, don't really need to do that. And I'm kind of running out of days and I still have a major project left to do, so I want to work on that. While I was down here, I noticed this iron golem was, oh my gosh, that's a lot of damage. Woo! I totally forgot iron golems did that much damage when you don't have full armor on. Literally can two-shot you when I'm wearing my elytra, even with the rest of the netherite armor. So just shot that thing from a distance, there you go. Had to kill that because it accidentally spawned in the wrong area, which broke the farm, so killed him, and then I eventually just placed some slabs to make it so that way that would never happen again and it would spawn in the water. But yeah, finished that, and now we can move on to probably one of the most lengthy projects I have ever done in my entire Minecraft career. I wanted to make a gunpowder grinder so that way I can get both fireworks to help me fly around because I was running low on fireworks, but also for TNT because TNT is super useful, especially in the nether in case I want to do larger projects or anything like that to get a bunch of blocks. But to make this gunpowder grinder, I needed 700 trapdoors, and I recommend if you don't like flashing objects to look away because I'm about to do a time lapse of a super long period of time and there's a huge flashing images. It doesn't last very long, but basically to get all the wood I needed, I had to mine an entire day just getting a forest. It didn't take as long as I thought it would. It only took me, I think, 15 minutes or so to get all of the wood I needed for these 700 trapdoors for this project. But yeah, it took me quite a lengthy time to mine and gather all of the items that I needed for this project. And also, I had these shulker boxes that I got from earlier, which this is the primary reason I wanted the shulker boxes, because I needed 3. Yes, 3 shulker boxes just to store all of the items that I needed for this gunpowder grinder. Absolutely insane. So I decided where I wanted to build it, and as you can see right here, we got a pretty decent amount of iron from our iron golem farm. And I wanted to build this grinder really close to my iron golem grinder, so that way hopefully they both would be spawning at the same time, both the creepers from my gunpowder grinder and the iron golems. So I built it right over here on this little island, because building it on the island meant, since how we were surrounded by water, there would be less mobs spawning around my grinder here, which means the majority of mobs would be spawning in it. You know what I mean? So hopefully that would maximize the amount of gunpowder that we'd be able to get from this machine. And this was just, again, super lengthy, tedious process of having to build up this wall, mine down a little bit, and since how we were on the island, I had to fill in the floor a little bit. Once we did that, I had to get water and put it on all of those corner blocks, break the floor here. It was just super annoying, super tedious. And once I finished that, I needed a gathering room where, you know, all of the gunpowder would gather. But the problem is there was sand falling on my head, so I couldn't make the room, so I had to dig all of that out, replace it with dirt. It was a whole process. But once I finished that, as you can see, what happens here is once they die, a minecart will pick up the items, drop them into these hoppers, and that gives us all the gunpowder that we need. They die due to these magma blocks right here, and I figured in the future, if I ever get more than enough gunpowder than I could possibly need, I could probably actually repurpose this thing just to drop the mobs down without killing them from the magma, and I could turn it into an XP grinder in the future. Yeah, that's what it looks like from the top. All of the mobs are going to flow down on top of this magma. they're going to die, and that's how I'm going to gather all of the gunpowder from when they die. Then now all I had to do to complete this project was the most lengthy thing of all, and that is build all of the layers where the mobs are going to spawn. Basically what's going to happen is they're going to spawn in this layer, and I have a bunch of different droppers and observers and a redstone clock to repeatedly place and then take away water. So it'll place water, shove all of the mobs off of the layer down below, take away the water, let more mobs spawn, and repeat. So super simple, but this was just such a tedious process of, first of all, having to build all of these layers, because I believe there was 5 that I needed to build. I underestimated how much dirt I needed, so I had to eventually go and mine more dirt for this project. I had already used nearly 20 stacks of dirt, but apparently that wasn't enough, so I had to go get more. So once I got that, this is what we had built so far. I just needed a couple more layers, and we were that much closer to being done with this thing. So let's go ahead and skip ahead a bunch of time to when that is done and all the layers are done, as you can see right here, and this is what it looks like all zoomed out, and they're going to spawn in each one of those layers. And next I had to use all of those trapdoors and put them on the roof of each layer. What this did is it made it so the taller mobs like zombies and skeletons shouldn't spawn in these layers, and only the shorter mobs like creepers and spiders. Primarily the creepers, because they're the ones that I want the gunpowder. So that's exactly what we did. Had to apply to each layer, ended up taking, you know, the full 700 trapdoors, and then once I was done with that, was applying the roof to this entire thing. What this did is it would make it so that way this machine would work also in the daytime and not only in the nighttime. And it took pretty long to do this because you had to expand the roof like twice the size of the actual grinder itself to make the entire area dark enough. But yeah, super boring. You don't want to see me play some more blocks, just go ahead and skip all of that. At this point, I had realized that I actually never added the water buckets, so I guess there was still one thing left to do. But yeah, had to add the water buckets to all of the droppers, but mobs had already started spawning, so that was a little bit of a challenge, but I was able to slowly but surely sneak my way into each room to get to the dispenser and put in our water buckets. And right here, this is our collection room. What that is that's a minecart with a hopper. It ends up picking up all the blocks through the floor and then dumping them into the hoppers. And like I said earlier, we didn't want any extra mobs spawning. We wanted them to spawn in the grinder, not anywhere else. So the way to ensure that happens is to put a bunch of torches all on this island, so that way they don't spawn here and they only spawn in the grinder, and it makes it as efficient as possible. Now our entrance to the grinder looks really boring, but I was honestly running out of days and I didn't have time to decorate it or build a bridge to my main land, which is one thing I want to do in the next video, is to actually, you know, build a bridge and decorate this entire thing and make it look really nice and fancy. But I just honestly didn't really have time to do that because that was going to take days. So, and I still had to do one final thing, and that was actually building our AFK spot at the very top of this thing. I don't know why, but you have to AFK like 230 blocks above the grinder to make it as efficient as possible. But yeah, I did that, went down to the bottom, realized I never actually opened up the gates that I placed to stop the water, so all of the mobs were kind of getting stuck and not dying, so I just had to use my bow, killed all of them, then actually went in there and opened up the gates. And just like that, our grinder is 100% done. It is now grinding a ton of gunpowder, so I flew our way up to our AFK spot, went inside our little hidden area to make sure nothing can kill me, and I just AFK'd for, I think it was like 5-10 minutes just to see how much gunpowder we could get from this thing. Flew my way down, literally nearly killed myself right there. I kind of forgot to activate the elytra, almost died but didn't. Flew around to safety, and that is all that I got from AFKing for like 10 minutes. An absolutely excessive amount of supplies, absolutely amazing. This thing was gonna make flying around with my elytra so much easier due to the surplus of fireworks that we were gonna get. And with that, we can now move on to our final project of respawning and killing the enderdragon. Now to do that, you need 4 ender crystals, and to get 1 ender crystal, you need a ghast tier. So I went into the nether and started flying around looking for a ghast. Now ideally I wanted to kill a ghast with my sword because my sword had looting, so that should make everything simpler. It actually took me quite a while to find 1 ghast, but when I did, I tried to use my fishing rod to hook it and bring it to me because it was floating over lava, so I didn't want to kill it when it was in lava. So I tried for a while to make that happen, but it eventually just floated over land itself. I killed it, and this 1 ghast actually dropped 4 ghast tiers. And that's all that I needed. I needed 4. So we were all set, killing that literal 1 ghast. And from what I said earlier, as you can see again, it's just super fun flying home in the nether with the elytra. I mean, look at this. Look at how much terrain we are covering in literally like 10 seconds. Super awesome. And we were so very close to our 300th day. I was slightly running out of time, slightly rushing myself a bit, but I knew I was good since how we had that portal to get to the end. As you can see right there, got our 4 end crystals. Now all I had to do was take my nether portal straight to the end and place all 4 down, and we would respawn the ender dragon. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there you go. Now all the towers regenerate, ender dragon respawns, and we're good to go. Now, killing all of these towers with the elytra is so insanely simple. You just fly around and shoot them all. It's so insane how much easier Minecraft is when you have an elytra. I mean, it's just stupid. Now, one thing that I wanted to do this time around is actually punch the ender dragon with my sword while in the air. You know, I wanted to fly around with it, so that's exactly what I did. It ended up dealing like half my HP of damage, so I almost died from that, but we did, so not gonna do that again though. Don't want to risk dying. But yeah, the rest of the fight was just really simple. I don't really need to commentate it. You all know how an ender dragon fight works, so I'll just shut up and let you enjoy the rest of this super simple ender dragon fight. And finally, there you go, down to its final hit. Kill the ender dragon, and easy clap. Super simple. I was actually hoping that I would get a ton of XP from this again, but unfortunately, when you kill the ender dragon for the second time, it drops like virtually no XP, which is kind of lame. But there you go, I did it. I respawned and killed the ender dragon. I got the achievement for it, and it was just nice to get that little bit of extra XP, I guess. I kind of should probably figure out how to get the dragon head from doing all this, because I actually don't know how to do that, and it would be really nice for decoration. But yeah, I went in the portal, made my way home, and this is actually nighttime on day 299, which means we are about to be brought to day 300, our very final day. And it was actually at this point that I realized during these 100 days, I never actually took Pongo anywhere. Pongo, my horse. It's not really Pongo's fault. I had the elytra and it was just not efficient to use the horse. I had the elytra. But, you know, I have had this pet for 300 days now. By far and away, the longest I have ever kept a pet alive in my entire life of playing Minecraft. So I brought him to a nice little mountain where we could watch the sunrise of day 300. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I have officially survived 300 days in hardcore Minecraft, and we have vastly improved our island in these 300 days with our nice iron golem spawner, our mob grinder for the gunpowder. We decorated our base a whole lot more with our nice little wheat farm over there, and our cow farm and our nether spawner. All of it looking super nice, and I can only imagine how much nicer it's going to look after another 100 days. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!